Hōkūle. I guess I'm from Kapālama, but I currently reside in Kapāhulu, and I'm blessed enough to have been a part of a journey that you'll be hearing. I'm a kumu at Kamehameha Kapālama. I'm head of the science department for the high school, and I've also have been a kumu in the Papa Mālama Honua for this going on the third year, as well as representing another wonderful individuals in the first year of our Papa Kilo Hōkū, led by Darren Kamala, one of our kumu, as well as a number of other things. So this is going to be a mixed bag of things, but I'll get out of the way in a second. First, I want to introduce these wonderful individuals. Papa Mālama Honua, again, is 3 years old, has had an opportunity to connect with the Wa'a, Hōkūle at Hikianalia, as she has been able to travel around the world. Just welcoming back yesterday. It was an amazing event and a great day for us as locally. And what you're seeing, if you have an opportunity to around the perimeter, is images that we have captured from a number of times that we have gone down. When Hōkūle was able to go down to Aotearoa, we're able to get a number of students down there and to connect and put some science on there to hope to get some information as they are traveling around, which had varied successes. But connecting our haumana to the wa'a is very, very important. Finding ways to connect and to teach them a little bit about what it's like to be on it, but also to be able to see what it is with the places that she has gone. Hōkūle has always been a great magnet that has been able to connect our people with all of the indigenous peoples of the area that she has been, and also just people who are just wonderfully attracted to it. And we had a number of individuals that were connected down Aotearoa, but what you're going to be hearing in the next few minutes is our wonderful group from Kamehameha, as well as connected with a number of haumana from Halakumana, as well as individuals from the Pacific American Foundation and their wonderful connections that we made at the Galapagos Islands this January and February. So without any further ado, let me turn it over to the stars of the show. Mahalo.
I am just one of a number of students, as you can see, that had the opportunity this past January and February to go and meet up with our Mama Hōkūle down in the Galapagos. While we were there, we had the privilege of going to the Charles Darwin Research Station, where we got to experience or learn about a number of the initiatives that's going on down there. One that I found particularly amazing is a lot of the plants down there are having a hard time growing due to a number of issues. So one thing that they're trying to do is Galapagos Verde 2050. They're taking these different planting techniques and trying to incorporate it into schools so that they can grow these plants and not just out where it's all barren, but have the students partake in it. While we were there, we also learned about Lonesome George, this giant Galapagos tortoise that sadly died, I believe, in 2012. In 2005, they did a study, the UNESCO study found that of the 97% of the land that's national park, a bunch of the vegetation has been eaten by goats, which is also what the giant tortoises eat. So since then, they've been collecting a number of eggs and rearing them in captivity, hoping to eventually release them into the wild. Another thing that we learned about was the Zero Fossil Fuel Initiative by 2020. Their hope is to eliminate their dependency on diesel, which we've also seen mirrors one of our Hawaii initiatives. In the Galapagos, they're off the coast of Ecuador, and so all of the fossil fuel that they use, they have to import. And so by switching to renewable energy sources, we saw at the airport they have these giant wind turbines that if they can use the wind and other resources, then they won't need to rely so much on shipping in things. The irony, however, was that the night that we went to the Charles Darwin Research Station, we went out and we ate on the street to have a real culture experience. That night wasn't necessarily our fault, but eventually was. All the power went out on that block. So during dinner, I participated in Hōkū HYCC last year, and I learned that if you have a light on your phone or any object and you have a bottle of water on top, it kind of acts as a lantern. So that was our source of light for the night. We realized that us as tourists were using a lot of electricity for the lights, for the Wi-Fi, for heating the water, flushing the toilets, that we were causing this local community to have problems. While there, as I stated, 97% of the total landmass is declared national parks. Unlike Hawaii, wherever you go, if you're in a national park, you need to have an official guide with you. So to ensure that all of the places that we went, we weren't trampling on areas that we shouldn't. On one of the islands that we went to, Bartolome, all of the hiking paths were covered so that you're not stepping on the land itself, but it's more like a boardwalk. So all of the environment itself is protected, so we cause as minimal damage. We went to 2 schools while we were in the Galapagos, Thomas de Berlanga and Gales de la Plaza. One of the messages that Thomas de Berlanga wanted to impress upon us was the idea of education as a means to become more sustainable. It's, I guess, harder to educate the older generation to bring about change, but when you're educating the children in school systems, they're the next generation, so they're the ones who are going to bring about the change. And then we also did an outplanting. So it took us, I think, 36 hours to fly all the way to the Galapagos, which indeed is a lot of diesel fuel. So by doing this outplanting, we were doing a little to give back, as Archie Kalepa said the other day on Maui, I believe, they're planning on doing like 1,000 koa tree outplanting just to mitigate some of the damages that they've done by flying to meet all the ports that Hōkūle has been at.
My name is Sierra. So I was fortunate enough to go to the Galapagos with Hōkū. And while down there, we met up with Hōkūle members from PBS. And this picture is hard to see, but this is our entire Galapagos of Haumana with the PBS crew, as Nainoa Thompson is talking story with us as we look among the stars. And at this beach, we could see, you can't even tell in this picture, but all the stars were, we could see all the stars. And in fact, instead of Nainoa pointing out the stars to us, the Hōkū class was actually the one who pointed out the stars for him. And it was such an amazing experience to be able to be down there. In fact, while we were at the 2 schools, the Hōkū class was able to teach the star compass to both schools. One school knew English and the other one did not, so we had a language barrier, but still yet we were able to teach a little bit about the navigation and wayfinding for the Hawaiians, and it was such a touching experience to learn from them as we taught them too. Mahalo.
Now, as we're making a transition, the idea of connecting and making sure that we're leaving our mark of where we're going. Hopefully, this footprint isn't one that's going to be one that's damaging. But that's the thing that I think that a lot of our takeaways that you heard from our Haumana were both intended and unintended. And figuring out how they can begin to understand that their connections and the things that they are doing are going to make a difference, no matter how small, is definitely keys that we want to make sure that we're imparting upon these Haumana as they're growing up to be the leaders of tomorrow. So moving on from our journeys in Galapagos, we also have, again, our first iteration led by our Kumu Darren Kamalu of our Papakilo Hōkū. And not only were they able to go down there, his overall goal of this was to get them out to actually pay attention and look at the stars. Half of the time, and because many of our students here in Oahu are very urbanized, they don't spend the time looking at the stars, they spend time looking at screens. So we invite you to take a look at this screen, because this screen is going to be something that's going to be showing you a little bit about their journey. But the thing that's really, really special about this class, not only that it was the first one, but figuring out ways for us to not only be consumers of information, but also be creators of information. And these are a few of the things that you'll be learning from this group, who is representing Papakilo Hōkū.
making the Hawaiian star lines on Stellarium. So Stellarium is this computer app that you have the night sky just on your computer that you can look at, and you can set your location or time for any time or any place, so you can practice seeing the stars from anywhere in the world. So this is what our navigators actually use to prepare for the different legs. So before we started working on this, there was a Polynesian sky culture, but it was very incomplete and there were only a couple stars. So the first thing that we did was we started to name all the Hawaiian stars that we knew. So if you look here, you can see Hōkūle and Hikianalea. Then next we have to make the star lines. So we connected each star together that created the lines, and the star lines would come up together. So with that, you can press make time move forward. Ooh, the computer's kind of slow, I'm sorry. So here the scales start moving. So now you can see all the star lines and all the Hawaiian star lines that you need. And we also drew pictures to add to the artwork. So with that, you can also practice seeing all the stars and also know the stories of those star lines. But lastly, the main thing that's very important for practicing the Hawaiian star lines is the star compass. So we had that drawn out so you could see the star compass pop up, if it will. There's the pictures. Well, there's gonna be on the horizon, there you go, the star compass. So you can see where all the stars come up, and you can just practice like you are a navigator. See that Orion rises in Hikina. And with that, you can practice being a navigator, and it's like a mix between the traditional knowledge of using the stars and then technology to be able to learn both at the same time.
While they're fighting, so again, a lot of these things, and for this idea of the stellarium, which is used by many of the navigators in their overall studies, is we were working on figuring out ways of getting people the things that they need in order to do that. So part of it was going to be work with this stellarium, which we actually found out, and through lots of conversations with the wonderful publishers of this, the things have been submitted, and I think it's good. He said it's going to be going out in their next update, which is actually going to be in the next couple of weeks. So if you haven't had or haven't looked at it, if you check out the app Stellarium, I think there's a minimal cost for it, but being able to take a look at that and seeing the things that have been done. Okay, just kidding, it's free. But seeing the things that these Hawana have done and being able to make a difference is a definite key for them. So, and then with that, along with that, there was also wonderful individuals that had put some work into this. So they'll be sharing a little bit about their oli that has been created, as well as a mo'olelo that is going to be going along with that. So, take it away.
Hi, I'm Aikaku, no Nalamaku, from Kapālama. I just wanted to start off by saying mahalo to all of you guys, mahalo to Ohana from Maui. All of you guys, I love you guys, mahalo to all you other guys. Personal law and proliferating the law, I appreciate you guys. At the beginning of our class, with our kumuka we had Nainoa come in and we was talking with him, talking about our experiences a little bit, and kind of trying to create a plan where we wanted to navigate the class, where we wanted to navigate our learning. And one of the things that came up that was really important to us was looking at the stars and thinking about mo'olelo. We wanted to create a new mo'olelo to go throughout the stars, go throughout the star lines, and oli as well that would help us memorize individual stars, memorize the direction that they roll, and those sorts of things. So as a class, we got together and we wrote an oli, we wrote a mo'olelo that would help to memorize these lines. And kind of the whole idea behind it was we're gonna tell us stories, yeah. And as keiki, we listen to these stories, but when we grow up, we're gonna be kukuna too, yeah. And so, what are the stories that our keiki are gonna tell? What are the stories that are gonna be passed on from our generation? And a living, breathing culture will constantly be evolving, constantly be creating new stories, new mo'olelo. And so it's important for us as a lahui to create these new things, create these new perspectives, building off of ancestral frameworks that can help us lead on into a brighter future, one that is more grounded in our roots, more grounded in the identity of who we are, and more grounded in the lahui. Yeah. So, should we do the mo'olelo and the oli now? Oh, kalamai. Sorry. So, this beautiful design was the design that our wonderful Kaleo Hana created. It's kind of goes through just kind of some symbolism that we discovered for ourselves in the class. And on the right side is the oli that we wrote. Starts off with Kaibi Komo. So there's this character owl. The mo'olelo is there's this character owl. And he starts from the people, Hōkū, who's looking at the sky one night, and the sky rotates around Hōkū as the center, the people. And so Ao, the character, pukas from Hōkū, and from there he goes to the aina of Po, and at every incredible battle, birthing event, he has his O'o, his companion, Lamaku, and when he puts it into the aina of Po, a beam of light comes out, and on this aina, we interpret that as a point of light. We interpret that as a Hōkū. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. So this is the second storyline, Manai Kalani. And Kalupeo Kabela, and keeps going, and then the story comes full circle in the Kālama. And then this is the more in-depth mo'olelo that was attached to it. So kind of like a Hōkūle version of that one. And if you guys are interested, we have our wonderful Mr. Balake printed off the Hōkūle for you guys to comment. If you want to look more in depth, yeah. All right. Oh, did I say Balake? Wait.
So we'll be sharing the oli, at least first half. Piha kaino pono ho au I te po hoku pa piko mai loko piko mai a puka. Piha kaino pono ho au I te po hoku pa ka piko mai loko ka piko mai a puka. Hūkalama ka pukalama he mālama lama he o lama ku he no. Ki pai nā hiku hana o Hōkūle a kai he mo o ke au o ko ohi veli kai no. Hiki mai ka lia o hiki ana mira kai he aka ko ka me kaulia la pā ka mole hono. Hana e ka mālama kuhi aku kuhi mai o maile mua maile hope pā ka hiki komo. Kui ka lapo poi ka vai mili o pukai a kare nā hokui. Hoku ka ihi vai mo hala ka le hua kona kālai ka matau ka melo ka pōkai no. Ana ki ai o helo kuru, o helo koko, o helo uli, o helo aho, o helo waha kai ako. O mai nā hoa, ka wiri kolo kio, ka ia lau ia, lele ka waa o ka maka kahi. Paa ki ahi o gungu kahi, lele ka manu luu ka waa, holo I ke au ke oi. Ki pai ke koe a ka lipo ka moko pāpai, ka vai mea le lai, ka mona piko palu. Puka I ke kai o hawa I ki kai, pāo mana e kalani. Iha kaino pono au I ka po, hoku pā, ka piko mai loko, ka piko mai a puka.
So again, one of the mahalos, and what you're having is seeing, as Nainoa talked about in his speech yesterday, as he's addressing things of why aren't our haumana knowing these kind of things. I think what little things that we can do is to begin to be open to another kind of education, and the ways that we can continue to educate our haumana are not only taught in books, not only taught through traditional, through more contemporary methods that we have done in our schools, but also finding other ways that we can find and challenge to find our next group of leaders. And what you are seeing definitely before us with Maui and with our Haumana that have been a part of our journey, and I know there's so many other stories that are out there, that we can continue to generate the next set of leaders for our locally. What I do want to do is, again, mahalo everybody for the opportunity to be here. And if you wanted to find more information about some of the things that we are doing, we will be in that room with everybody in the far corner with, again, the books that they talked about from Mr. Blake, who printed it for them. Again, it's an honor to be here, to be a part of this day, and it's a wonderful opportunity. So thank you. Mahalo.